Prime IV Delray Beach helps you feel better, look better, and perform better with IV vitamin therapy. Each of our IV drips is the equivalent of 2.5 gallons of hydration and a custom blended mix of vitamins designed to help you reach your health goals. The top complaints we address are more energy, better sleep, sports recovery, meaning less soreness when you work out, or a great boost to your immune system. Come in if you're feeling under the weather or to help stave off those nasty bugs if someone's in your house and brought them home. Use the code word SWEET, SWEET, for 20% off any IV treatment now through the end of March 2024. Valid at the Delray Beach location only.
Hey everybody, it's Andrea Trout, and I'm here with Carolina Rush for Sweet and Spicy. Hi, Carolina.
Hi.
We have some special guests in the studio with us today. We have...
I don't know about special, but...
They're definitely special.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome. We have Mike Ream.
Started off hot.
Yeah, that's the spicy side.
There it is.
Spicy one.
There it is.
Mike Ream and Geoffrey... I don't even know how to say
Psillos?
this. Psillos.
There we go. Mike can never say it right.
Psillos is what I
He never
call
said it right once.
And they are business partners with Willow and Palm Construction and friends of ours from the Chamber. And they've agreed to be here because we're talking about dating from a man's perspective. And you guys are bringing the perspective of in your 20s and 30s.
Yep.
And
Wish I was there.
Carolina wanted to start it out with something very specific.
Okay, so I first wanted to find out what your status is currently. So we'll start with you, Geoffrey.
Figuring it out. Single as a motherfucker.
Are you dating?
When it's convenient. When it's
What does that mean?
I got a lot going on right now. I got to focus on a lot of other things. So when it's convenient, and it's more from like a value standpoint, like if someone shares values that I see or feel that there's some alignment, then yeah, absolutely. But I'm not wasting my time, that's for sure right now.
So it's not necessarily a priority, and you're being selective.
Yes. Yes.
And, okay, so not to put you on the spot, and you can pass on this if you want, but are you okay with sharing a little bit about what you went through?
Within the past 2 years, within the past 6 months.
Specifically with your ex?
I think you should.
Listen,
I think
there's a long...
but I think that'll be a good outlook for people to understand why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great outlook, actually, as much as it is shitty, but I think it'd be a great outlook.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the story begins even before her. And all right, so let's get into this. I was engaged for about 6 months, something like that. But there's a predecessor to the engagement. I was dating a woman for like 4 years. We pretty much grew up through college together, had a great time, had a lot of fun with each other, experienced a lot of new things together, a lot of things around the world, and then just slowly grew apart. You know, COVID happened. We both grew apart substantially. I was really focused on career, and there was some trauma from personal things in that ex's life that weren't capable of being really healed from in that moment. And I then had moved down here. We moved down here together.
So this is the girl that I met when you were having your ribbon cutting. She met me to get the scissors. Okay.
Yes. Girl that I moved down here with, started all my businesses with, grew apart. Then through doing business down here, we grew apart even more. She wasn't very in tune with what I was doing. She was let me restart this. This is a hard one. I had met my ex-fiance while still dating her, and I knew we were living together. We were living together.
There was an overlap.
How can I
There was not an overlap. I made sure of it. I had integrity during that because I did not want to carry into a relationship already doing the wrong thing. I knew it was it felt like it was going to be the right person. My ex-fiance, I thought from the moment I met her was going to be the right person. So I didn't allow anything to happen between us. There was obviously very high tension conversations, But I sat her down one day, took her to brunch, and was like, hey, listen, this is my current situation. Before I even met you, I've been trying to figure out how we are going to cleanly break up, because we had a house together, we had a lot of assets together, and that's kind of hard to just break away from, especially when you're on a lease together, a brand new, beautiful apartment. So I figured out a clean way to take care of all that, wound up getting really ugly, but literally a week after my ex had moved out, pretty much moved my fiance into the house.
Wow.
And that just took off like rapid speed. It was on 10x momentum. Knew we wanted to get engaged, knew like everything that I stood for, everything that she stood for. Like, she taught me a lot about myself, a lot about the world that I hadn't experienced, previously being a construction manager and a bodybuilder. My life was very like black and white, and she was very like holistic, and I wasn't. So she helped me find that part of myself and kind of appreciate more of the world than just the way that I was appreciating working through life. And so she was definitely there, threw a lot of value in my life and everything. But then about 6 months into the relationship, bought an engagement ring. We had a very strict rule. We weren't set living together until, like, we weren't going to each get rid of our apartments and get a mutual apartment until we were engaged. So we kind of like fast forwarded that so that we could get an apartment together.
Right.
Not the best idea, but it happened, and it was a great experience. So then worked through all that. It was a beautiful relationship. Never once fought, never screamed at each other, nothing like that. So I'm not mad about the relationship by any means. Then one thing leads to another. I was working a lot. She felt like I wasn't giving her attention. Meanwhile, that's not even close to the case. She was just trying to have a scapegoat, try to blame me for an action that I could never be blamed for. Honestly, I'll take blame for every relationship ever in my life. I would never did everything right. This one, I was very methodical. I held integrity through the entire thing. Never really stepped outside the line. And I mean, that's karma, though. Kind of just karma bit me in the ass. I'm fine with that. Learned my lesson. But then, she wound up doing one wrong thing. I don't stick around for that. I read the writing on the wall. I've been in that position.
What was it?
She was texting her ex. I saw it. She was like, I never look through phones. That's like one of the most detrimental things you could do in a relationship. You could just read text messages between your significant other and their best friends and see something you don't want to see. So you just don't look through phones. Bad idea. I had an itch because I saw her texting him, but I didn't really care. They still did some business together, so it didn't matter to me. I am never threatened by anyone. I'm not insecure by any means, so it was perfectly fine. But I just had a feeling, so I looked through her phone really quick, saw it was a very cordial conversation, then it got very explicit. So I put the phone down, left, went to my office, hung out, whatever. She woke up. She showed up in my office. She's like, what happened? Where'd you go? Why aren't you answering my phone calls? I'm like, I just turned around, swiveled around in my desk, looked at her, and I was like, you're fired. And
pull the Donald Trump
I
on
know,
her.
really.
Literally just swiveled around. I'm like, you're fired. But anyway, so then she wound up leaving. I wound up working for a little bit during the day. It was a Saturday. Went out to get some drinks, was day drinking a little bit. Came home a little drunk, and I just looked at her. I was like, listen, I'm not having this conversation right now. Like, I'm a little too drunk to have this conversation. It's not going to go anyway. Either one of us want it to go. Yeah. I'm going to go out for the night, and I don't want to see you tonight. I don't want to have a conversation about this at all today. Like, let's reconvene tomorrow. I'm either going to sleep at my boy's house, or you could go sleep at your aunt's house. So I go out for the night. I'm with my buddies. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I get a text saying, hey, I'm going to sleep at my aunt's house. I'm like, okay, great. I wind up heading home at like 3 o'clock. Didn't want to call an Uber. I'm up in West Palm, and I'm living in Delray, downtown Delray at the time. So I'm like, I'm just going to run home. So I'm wearing dress shoes, dress pants, button down, take my button down out, tie it up around my waist. And I just ran it was like 14 and a half, 15 miles home. I literally logged it on my Nike app for running. I think
you told me about that story.
Yeah.
Isn't that
dress
I have it logged in my Nike app, wearing dress shoes.
Isn't that when you decided to quit drinking?
No.
Because you got lost one night.
It was right after that.
No, it was after. Your birthday. It was after your Fort Lauderdale that I decided to stop drinking for a couple weeks. But I ran home, and location wasn't on, wasn't answering my phone calls. That never happens. So I'm like, a little peculiar. I did not drive, of course, so I had someone drive me to her aunt's house, because no, you should never drunk drive. Awful idea. So I got down to Fort Lauderdale somehow, and her car wasn't there. So I get back up at home, sitting on that couch, playing Xbox. She walks in the door. I was like, where were you last night? She's like, I told you I slept at my aunt's house. I was like, yeah, you sure about that? She's like, yeah, I told you I slept at my aunt's house. I was like, I went down there like 6 o'clock in the morning. Your car wasn't there, so let's try this one more time. She's like, all right. She like sighed. She told me what happened. I was like, okay, good. Thanks for making this easy.
What happened?
She slept. She
was with the ex.
She slept at her ex's house.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying, you can't tell that.
You want more description? You want more description? You want more description? I could give you a description.
No, you just got to let people know. You just told a whole story. It was a pretty in-depth story.
That's all
so
you
you
need.
just got to answer why.
She was at the ex's,
It's not a
which we
cliffhanger.
figured.
Yeah, she slept at her ex's house. I was like, all right, cool. Thanks for making this easy.
Yeah.
Read the writing on the wall. She was apologetic. She was crying, bawling her eyes out. I was like, listen, everything that you're saying to me right now is exactly what I've spit in every single one of my ex-girlfriend's face. Like, this shit doesn't change. I know I did everything right. I didn't, like, stray from the line at all. I'm so happy with this outcome because at least I wasn't the problem.
Right.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I apologize this is happening. Like, we just had our engagement party. My parents paid like $30,000 for this beautiful engagement
I
party.
cannot even imagine that. Holy shit.
It was rough though. It was like
For sure.
Like,
I mean, we just
a friend and stuff. Like, neither one of them are bad people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Riley's not a bad person either. You know what I mean? So it was just a rough situation. It was,
But let me ask you a question though. I mean, it's so shitty that happened to you, but was there a reason? Did something go wrong? Why? Did you ever get your why?
Not a legitimate why. I mean, yes. So I'll go into this. Okay. I guess like for like the past 3 weeks or something, she was having dreams about him every now and then or something. And it's like, okay, I have dreams about bitches all the time. I don't act on that shit.
Yeah.
Because it's just a dream. My mind's wandering. But she was like, yeah, I still think about him at time and everything. And he's a good guy. He treated her right. He never did anything wrong to her. He's an ex-professional athlete. He's got his things going. So, I mean, there's nothing against him either. I don't give a shit. But she just said pretty much that. She tried blaming me, saying she didn't like certain things I was doing, like going out and going drinking with business partners and going to meetings all the time and always being at events and everything like that. But like, I still took her out to a nice dinner at least once or twice a week. Every single weekend, I helped her with her business. And after her business, we always went and did like some outdoor adventure. Like everything that we had substantiated our relationship, we did. And I never I was always home. Like when I could be home, I would bring my work home. I would just sit there. Like we would make dinner together. Like it was a great relationship. So there was no real why other than just bogus that she would try to throw back in my face.
Right.
That had no evidence, not evidence saying I was doing anything wrong, saying it wasn't justified.
No, absolutely not. And if anything, you go and you talk to the person.
Yeah,
you let them know, I'm not happy with this or that or whatever, but you don't go do what she did.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that full circle because I skipped that part. We had the best communication I ever had in a relationship, and that's why it worked so well. I talked about my trauma, she talked about her trauma. The communication was always there. So I literally looked at her when that happened. I was like, why didn't you just talk to me when you were having those dreams or anything? We could have had a conversation about this. If you need better closure from him, you could have went and had lunch with him. You could have went and had dinner with him. I would have never said no or been mad about it.
I think, and this is just, again, my outside, being around you the last year. I think it was you guys kind of rushed into that. Yeah. I think you coming out of the 4-year relationship, and then Riley was there, you didn't even have a chance to, process. Yeah. And so, when you do that, you rush into that, and it seems great because it's different from what you had, you know what I mean? But then, the truths eventually come out, especially when you live together. When you move in together, that's different.
So I'm curious to know, because you told me about your situation with you and your ex prior to meeting her. But what was she in a relationship when you guys met? Like,
Yeah, so we were actually in almost the same predicament. We both broke
She was
up with
with
our
that guy.
significant others at the same time and
Okay.
phasing out our significant others at the same time. So neither one of us had any time to grieve.
Right.
We just jumped full speed into it, and
It's tough.
it is
Yeah,
it was
totally
tough.
get that.
You know, now I think about it, and like, there is a certain closure that I want to have with that original ex. But there has to be a caveat to it that I am not ready to do yet.
What makes you know you're not ready to do it yet?
It's actually nothing to do emotionally, physically, or personally. It's more there's a second underlying determination of why I cannot try to reconvene and apologize. Not that I need to apologize, but because I want to apologize because it did end ugly.
Apologize in hopes of rekindling that?
No. It's really just more for my psyche.
Closure.
Okay.
And just let her know how sorry I am because she was an amazing person. We were not good people for each other at all. You know, I'm very outgoing. I'm very adventurous. I'm very in tune with nature and my body and everything. And she's more adventurous. Like, I like to travel, but I like to travel for the world's beauty. She likes to travel for, like, shopping
Right.
and partying. And we're just completely different that way. That never works. And I understood that she didn't really want to come to terms with that at the time, but now she's thriving. I'm thriving in my own right, and I knew we wouldn't be able to thrive together. We had a beautiful relationship, but there was bumps along the road, and, like, that failed because we were holding on to something that we had built because we had such a beautiful relationship and we were together for so long and we did a lot of traveling together. But, like, when we would go on vacation, she would go to the winery all day and I would go hiking up
Right.
Yeah.
15-mile mountains.
Right.
So it's just like I got lonely, she got lonely. And it's just like,
We grow apart.
Right.
yeah, we grew apart.
So-
and that's fine. I came to terms with that. It's harder for other people to come to terms with that because I was like her rock in that situation.
And-
She
and
didn't
what-
have a father.
One thing I want to just be clear about, do you mind sharing your age with us?
I'm 25.
It's amazing to me because it's so impressive, Geoffrey, because so many 25-year-olds that I've met do not have the self-awareness that you have. And, like, you're just so much more of a man than a lot of 25-year-olds. So it's very impressive.
A lot of 35-year-olds.
It's true. That is very true.
But you'll ruin your reputation and also just ruin relationships. And I don't want to hurt anyone anymore.
Right.
You know, it's not beneficial to your image in the community, and just it's not beneficial for anyone.
Really? Yeah.
Don't lie about shit. I mean, just be true with your intentions. And even if you don't know what your intentions are, like, sometimes you're just trying to self-preserve yourself and hide certain things, and that's fine. But just understand that, you know.
So obviously I want to get to Mike, but I do want to ask you really quick, has that situation made you jaded or look at women differently or negatively, or are you not wanting to date because of what happened? Like,
No, not at all. Because if that's the case, then I wouldn't want someone coming in being jaded towards me, because it's happened to everybody. And I am not that person anymore. I don't think women are always going to do that to me. I think it was just that a special circumstance. And now there's a way to communicate through it. And sometimes there's not. Sometimes people are cynics. You know, sometimes people mess up. But it's not going to hold me back from wanting to enjoy a relationship and enjoy people.
so you're still willing to fall in love, get engaged, get married, the whole nine?
Why not? He's 25 years old.
Well,
you know
I'm
what
just
I mean?
saying.
kidding me?
Down the road.
I mean,
Down the
you
road.
asked,
If you're heartbroken.
you asked that question to a 48-year-old woman, you might get a very different answer.
But it's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At 48,
100%.
you're
100%.
callous. You know what I mean?
But I think everybody reacts differently.
I also want to say I was not heartbroken by that. It was weird because it never happened to me before, but I understood that it was
Like
it was written. It
more
was
of an ego check.
Yeah, it was such an ego check, and also it was just
So
like
interesting.
it was written on the wall. Like I knew that was gonna happen to me. I'm a big karma person, but I haven't always had the best integrity in relationships. So listen, shit's gotta come back to you. You gotta learn your lesson sometimes.
You're not even supposed to know what integrity is.
25.
You know what I mean? I'm like, well,
That's not true. I don't think
I mean,
that's
you know what I
true.
mean. Like,
I know what you're saying.
You know what
yeah.
it is, but it's a lot harder to follow through with it.
Yes.
Right.
And put that thought into action.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
do.
I think there's different phases of integrity too. What you think integrity is at 25, and then 35 and 45, it's a whole
Yeah, it could
different
vary.
story. You know what
That's
I mean?
true, yes.
That's a
So I know your situation is very different.
completely.
Kids, but you're not technically married,
Not
correct?
yet, no.
Okay, so tell us, because we both know
We got
Paige.
it on recording, though, not yet.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
not
that.
yet.
Not
Make
yet.
sure we
like it.
bold that,
I
underline
know,
that,
for
please.
sure.
So yeah, my situation is different. I was let's see, go back. I met Paige in 2014 is when we first met.
Wow, 10 years.
Yeah, we met. Yeah, shit. That's 2024, isn't it?
Have you had your 10th year anniversary yet?
No, it wasn't an anniversary, so we met at
Okay.
like as people.
Oh, gotcha.
I was in Pittsburgh visiting a friend of mine, from college. He lived there on the river, so we was up there just. It was the first night I was in town, and we was just bouncing around bar hopping, and we popped into this bar called Willow and Palm Tavern. It was just some hole in the wall bar, and we was in there, and Paige was actually meeting this other guy was in there. We was just kicking it with him. We was fucked up just talking, and he said he had some girls coming. So Paige and a couple of her friends had showed up, and she used to sell security alarms, homes for AMP, and so they would travel to different areas, like suburban areas, and they'd have teams and go door knock. So
Right.
she brought some of her people out, and I'm there, and my buddy, she's Paige is 6 foot tall,
I know.
so the whole time,
She's not only 6'1". She's like 6'1".
yeah, she's tall. and
She's
Paige is
tall.
And so the whole time, my buddy Todd kept saying, "Wait, you played basketball at Marquette?" He's looking over at me. He's like, "Mike, you played football in college. You guys didn't have freak athletes. You guys should have a kid." That's what he was.
Oh my
So the guy
gosh.
that she's there, like, and this is the guy.
So you're like, okay.
and then
let's
she'll
have two.
tell the story, like, yeah, this guy. Now she tells it, yeah, I bumped this guy he was in the parking lot, and we said, all right, we're gonna go meet up with him. So, anyways, so we stayed in contact. We hung out that weekend, stayed in contact. I don't know, for like the next year or so. And then we stopped talking for a while. I mean, I was living in Florida. Her home base was Phoenix, Arizona. So I was just, I was living down here in South Florida. And I was boxing at the time, so. I mean, yeah, then in 2015, I went to a wedding with her, and we're like, all right, let's make it official, but for the next 2.5 years, we didn't. It was like a long distance thing where I would fly back, she'd fly out. And
Right.
It's hard.
it was. Yeah, it definitely was. You definitely, like I was saying, that's hard, right? But then when you do that, and you know someone from long distance, right? Even if you go, it's like go out, say, for a week or something, and vice versa, but when you move in with each other, that's what I was saying, you really, you know what I mean? You really learn, especially long distance. Like, if I'm, all right, good night, I can go out after that. There's no,
Right.
And come back whenever, you know what I mean? Come back whenever you want, and vice versa, and like, whatever.
Shit
Right.
gets real.
You hang out with your boys, yeah, shit gets real. Real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we did a lot of traveling. We've been to Hawaii, Belize, Nicaragua, Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah, Jamaica. We've been all over, yeah. We've traveled a lot.
So even though you're not technically married yet,
No, we've done.
you have
We've done a
kids.
lot,
You have
yeah,
two
two
kids.
kids, yeah.
Just had a
So,
baby.
so
Yeah.
basically, it's safe to say she's the one.
Yeah. We definitely went and again, you argue and you have your fights and, it's just, but I mean, two
So
kids.
what was it about her that made you realize this is the girl for me?
I tell people, I said, everybody's annoying to people. It's just whose shit you can put up with the most, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean?
what
It's a
level of
little
annoyance?
jaded, but I understand what you're
I'm
saying.
being funny.
I know you are,
She's
but
a good
it's
person.
true.
Like, Paige is she's very good. She's very patient. and I'm a little on edge.
A little? A little?
I've gotten a lot. That's what I mean. I've gotten a lot better. A lot better. So like, yeah.
From being with her?
No,
or
being
just
with
from
me.
working with you?
No,
Really?
Just being
it's
around
not
people.
Adam. Come on.
Just growing up. I think.
Growing up?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Listen,
what age did you grow up at? Would you say? Like literally?
How old are you now?
37.
So I'm going to go 36.
Yeah, 'cause you know what? Like,
No, it's
listen,
before that. You have a kid.
Before Paige, I was 26, 27. I was living in South Florida. I was boxing.
But were you really grown
could
up
tell
then?
me
Because
shit.
you and I have
Nah,
talked
yeah,
about.
I was Mr. Eligible Bachelor, and I just.
I was going to
did
say,
what
you and I have
wanted.
talked about some stories.
Yeah, I made money. I did what I wanted. Partied, Miami, the whole 9 yards. So like.
It's what a lot of 20-year-olds do.
And then coming back from I played football in college at Bowling Green and stuff. So like, then it was just a life
Yeah.
was a party of fun,
Right.
Taking it traveling, and then you meet someone. Even in a relationship long distance, you don't feel trapped. If you get into an argument, you can, you know what I mean.
Right.
You don't have to explain anything. You know what I mean. But when you move in, it's a whole different story. You have to get used to that, and then so.
But what was the most like what was it about her that you're like, this is it? I want to have a future with her. Was it a certain characteristic? Was it a certain moment?
That's a good question. Just her overall personality and who she is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think we just
You compliment each other?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, she's more calm and patient, and I'm short fused sometimes.
Yeah, on edge.
Quick, on edge. That's the best way to say it. And so, like, you just help each other grow, I guess. I don't know. We just took the time to work through things, the highs and lows.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So when will you pop the question?
Pass.
Good man.
You're
That's
supposed
smart.
to take a shot.
That's actually
That's
smart.
fair enough.
Smart answer.
So I could go on with questions, but I haven't really let you talk. So do you have anything that you want to?
I have. Can I ask a few questions of you guys?
Of course.
Go for it.
We're in the decades now. I mean, I kind of said it. So, you guys talk about your past. Where's your past? I didn't know, Carolina.
They clearly haven't listened to our podcast.
So I am about to be 49 on the 9th of April.
Right.
What specifically do you want to know about my past?
So my thing is, how do you think dating has changed from when you were like in our 20s and 30s? Because to me, like what I see now, like you are right with him, because now, in my mind, I was wild in my 20s and definitely my teenage years. So in my mind, it's like, if I grew up in this era with all social media the way it is,
God help us.
I don't know if I'd be alive at 37. We wouldn't be having a podcast. I promise you that right now.
I think for me, one thing that I've noticed is I think it was... So back in my 20s, I feel like we had the pick of the litter. The dating pool was a lot bigger. I was not as selective as I am now. It was all about if you were the hot guy, we were getting together.
That's what it was, yeah.
Now I think there's certain qualities that I look for. I think it's a lot harder. The dating pool is a lot smaller. I don't think it's a lot harder. Actually, I think it's easier only because at our age, we've already been there, done that. We're grown up. We know what we want.
You're not getting wild.
We're established, right?
There's not that to you.
It's going to take a lot.
Here's my credit card. It ain't wild with me. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, we might get wild, but I have to be home by 11.
Depending on what kind of credit card it is, too. It depends on
there you
that
go.
credit card.
You know.
But one thing I have noticed about me particularly is back then, I would put up with way more shit than I do now. So if you were to cheat on me or, something like that, I was so naive and dumb at the time and blinded by love and the looks and whatever that I'd let it slide. Now, I mean, you practically breathe in the wrong direction and I'm like...
See ya. Snip, snip.
Right. So I think we tolerate a lot less.
back then, how did you even know if people were cheating? Because like now, it's easy
Yeah,
to
Oh,
trace.
we know. Listen,
The
I
girl
grew-
network is strong.
I understand.
It's crazy.
It's
That's
strong.
what it
A
is.
women's intuition
was
is
better
crazy.
back then than it is
Oh, I
now.
could-
My
Yeah.
intuition is even stronger now than it was back then.
I can make anyone
But people talk
question
back
their
then.
intuition.
Guys were
I got good
dumb.
stories.
When you're young, you're dumb about how you're cheating. I mean, like,
Not if
you
you're a
tell
minister.
your friends and then their girlfriends find out. Or, I mean, I was
You
cheated
want
on
to
a couple.
brag.
It
No,
was
when you're younger, you brag. That's
Right,
what it is. You
exactly.
talk. You can't keep that secret
100%.
in. You got to go tell your boys. One of your boys is going
call
to
my-
hate because he wants to smash your girl, and it's just a whole round robin.
But I also think too that I think people just think they're going to get away with it, and they forget that certain things like start to indicate it, and that's when you find out, right? Like I think people just think they're going to get away with it, and they don't.
and they're not concerned with the repercussions. Like at this age, we have kids at this point. There's families involved.
I definitely think people don't think it through, especially most 20-year-olds. Like you're a bit of a gem, and you had like self-admitted you kind of had done some shit before this, right? So the karma is coming back, whatever you want to call it. But for sure, like your 20s, you're just figuring shit out. Like you really are. You don't know yet. And most people don't know what you want. In that era.
30s. I honestly, this is crazy. My boxing career, it ended at 31. And it was crazy. It ended abruptly in not because of injury or because of anything. It was a choice by me, but some situations happened within that on the financial side with managers and stuff like that I'm like, I don't need to do this anymore. But after that, I didn't know. I had never thought past. It was so crazy because I played football through college and I went right into boxing. I boxed for 10 years, like 8-9 years. You know what I mean? And so I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was a few months there for a while. Then I got into medical sales because you're good with people. And I got into and I hated medical sales, not because of making money, because of it's a shitty industry, man.
Yeah, really.
They're the people. I mean, some of that stuff, man. You hear when you're bouncing around how they talk.
Are you selling like drug sales?
I was doing. It was more. I was
Pharmaceuticals,
working for
sorry.
it was like pharmaceuticals for like laboratories. So I was getting to run their specimens back through. So I was doing PGX and CGX, cancer genomics.
Got it.
There were certain tests that I was doing. And I was doing PCR. PCR testing was new.
Yes.
So 2019, I did that.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, the guy that I was working with was like white collar crime stuff. So like I had a Fed come up and like talk, like bring his name up, and I was like, all right, like, you know what, I'm done. I don't need to be dealing with feds.
You're like, I'm out.
And then COVID hit, and if you guys remember, PCR was the testing on the forefront.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Lots and lots and lots of money I missed.
Yeah. Yep.
But it is what it is now. You know what I mean? And
Hindsight's a bitch.
it really is.
Trust me.
It really is.
Hindsight's a bitch.
When you see some of those, you make a left and you're supposed to make a right. You're like, I
So
would have talked to more federal agents. I promise you that.
Yeah.
so I want to get to the
One more
nitty
thing.
gritty.
I'm sorry. I wanted to get back to you. You were talking about the dating scene. I don't think that's true down here in Delray, though. Like, Delray Boca is a whole different scene for the older crowd. And I don't mean older, but I mean, like, I see a lot more people in their 30s and 40s single out because they come down here compared to, like, I'm from Ohio. In Ohio, it's way different.
Because everybody's married.
Yes, it's way different.
I see what you're saying.
It's
Yeah,
way
totally.
different. I'm from a town of 4,000 people. People that were together in high school are married now.
Right.
You know what I mean? With kids. So,
Yeah.
like, it's just, to me down here, no, if you go to Miami for a lot, like all the whole way down,
Well, part of that's population density to some extent.
very
If you're
true,
4,000
very true.
people, and where I went to high school, like I went to Christian high schools, so my graduating class was 24 people.
wow.
But people from that high school are
beat me.
married.
Mine
Still.
was 100 and it was a public high school.
Right, and that's
Wait,
small.
Yeah.
Hold
And that
on,
was
hold on.
Wow.
the biggest.
Right.
class. I
Andrew-
was the biggest.
Andrew, you just said they're married still.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cynical thing.
No, it's
No,
not
it's a
cynical.
surprise.
You're like, that's crazy.
The
It is
cynical
a surprise.
thing to
Crazy.
me is that many of them still live in that town or near
Yes.
there. And now, like, they're starting to move out because it's California and California's gone insane, but we won't go there. But that's the crazy part to me is that they're married, which is great. I love that they're together. That's cool.
Yeah.
I cannot fathom living where I went to high school. Like, being in a town of 4,000.
I went to high school here. How could you not fathom living in
I
Florida?
love my hometown. I love going back. I got a lot of friends still there, and I still talk to some of my friends from high school and stuff. Absolutely not.
And
I think
But
it
I
depends
go
on the
live there.
state.
Well, it depends.
It
You're
does.
in an urban area, so there's a lot more than just that town. Like, I'm talking small town. It's not 4,000. It's probably 50. But again, this high school is 130 something people in the whole high school, and that's the community. And then there's a couple churches. Like, it's a very small community, even at 50,000. So just for me, it was different. When you're in a town of millions, like, it's different.
It was a culture shock for me. It was such a culture shock. I mean, Ohio is it's a pretty just white, black, and then Spanish is Mexicans. That's it. You know what I mean? From the fields and stuff and workers,
Right.
Setting up shop, whatever. And I didn't, honestly, man, college educated, everything. I didn't know the difference between Haitians, Jamaicans. I knew the difference, but I didn't know, like, Florida, how Florida was, how
diverse.
culture.
It's a
Yeah,
melting pot here.
I didn't realize. I always thought, like, if I'd see the news, when I just thought black people.
Right.
But then you get down there, it's not a lot of American blacks. It's more, people that the family stuff came from Haiti and Jamaica.
Immigrants.
Right.
Yeah, immigrants. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of the word. Bahamas and stuff.
Yeah.
So it threw me off. But I love it. I love the culture. I would, unless I told Paige, my biggest thing was I went to school to be diverse. I was one of maybe 3 black people. I was the only black kid that played sports in my conference, like of sports. So
Wow.
yeah, and I'm
That's
in
crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
and I'm in like this small town, so like
Well, even here,
stuff
like,
was.
I went to to Pope John Paul, a private high school in Boca, and there was 500 kids in my school. So there was roughly 125 people in my graduating class, and I think we had. This was in 1993 when I graduated, and we had maybe 5 black people in the school.
That's what I mean. But see, mine is like it's not, and it wasn't black families. Like it was kids that like I wasn't adopted. I was mixed, but my whole family's white. You know what I mean? My real dad wasn't there, so we was just. And the other kids were adopted. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like there was no like black culture at all. You know what I mean? Like. But we had a town close to us, like 20 minutes away, Lima, which was like 30,000 people, so closer to your size town. It was definitely, there's a lot more black population in Lima, but still an all-white country area.
You stood out.
It's country. And now, like, looking back, I used to think Lima was a bigger city. Lima had the mall that everybody in the area would go to. Then you had Columbus. I'm like, oh, Columbus is big. And then you come down here and you're like,
Right.
it's small.
Yeah, it's
and
nothing.
everybody's country up there. It's just...
Right. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? But
And
if I tell my friends from Cincinnati, no, we're from the city. I'm like, bro, that city is country compared to, you know what I mean? So it is though.
But they're married and have kids, and there's
yes.
not a single scene.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know where I grew up if that would be.
Yeah, like there is no, and I mean 4 and 5 kids deep now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you get married in your early 20s, go to college, you get married after that, and you get married to a lot of people in the same area. People will move back, they'll go away for a little bit, move back, but I mean, a lot of families.
Yeah. Because even the extended families stick together, like the parents and then the kids, and then the kids have kids.
Nobody moves
and they
away
don't.
because of family. You don't,
Right.
No one.
Well,
thinks about
Hispanic families, you live with your parents
Asian
until you
too.
get married.
Italian,
A lot of
Italian
Even if
families.
you're 40 years old and you're a guy, you live with your parents until you get married and then you move out. I mean, not
Italians.
here.
Italian families up north, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm from New York. I'm from Long Island. I
You're
can tell you right
Italian.
now, if a family member moves out of our city, out of our town, and moves like 20 miles away, that's too far.
Really?
Come back to your family. Every single person in my family, we all went to the same high schools. My grandparents bought a house in our town 55 years ago.
Yeah.
60 years ago, 55 years ago. And 4 generations are now growing up in this town. And it's a small town. I graduated with like 300 people. So, I mean, for New York, for Long Island, that's small graduating class. We live in a small town. But you're right, with Italian families and everything, everyone, they have their pods. You know, you stay there. And it's weird when a family member moves 10 miles
But
away.
you know what,
That's
too?
crazy.
It's not
They always
bad.
wind up coming back,
Because
too.
you know what? It's also a not knowing. You don't know if you don't ever go live there. If you don't ever try, you just know what you know.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I mean?
And I think the other thing too is I will say this about how I grew up, and my mom was divorced, so I was the divorced kid, because in a Christian school you're the divorced kid, right? And
Bad.
I know, you're right. 'Cause
Troubled child. Yeah.
and I wasn't. I
crazy.
was such a goody two shoes. I admit it, a little bit, just not to my mother.
Right.
Sorry, mom.
I was an angel.
Yeah, okay.
I was an angel.
But you
My mom
do
has
have
nightmares about me.
You have family values. You in your town you had family values. There is that instilled to some extent for
100%.
sure.
100%.
And I see that in you, and I see it in you because the way you talk about Paige and the way you talk about your kids, like you have an edge. You're on
Yep,
edge,
yep,
but
yep.
you still have that core, and that is what I see. And not to say that you don't, Carolina, where you grew up, 100% I see it. But you've also left and come back. And I think that is helpful to what you're saying of you get to know what else is out
Right.
there. Like you've been to Georgia, right? And did you live one other place?
No.
Just Georgia. But you knew that you were like, I'm never leaving. I like this. This is what I want to be, So
Right.
I think that experience helps.
And Carolina's got a big heart. She plays tough. She's not that tough.
I know, right?
You get past her bark.
Past the
Oh,
spicy.
100%.
Her bite is soft. It's
I'll
a
be the
soft
first to
bite.
admit that.
it's true.
I'm a big, soft teddy bear inside, but my exterior
Scratchy.
says something different. But I mean,
Her
that's
shield.
that's part of growing up. It's things I've been through in the past that have made me that way. But
Yeah,
it is what it is.
for
But-
sure. We all have it.
All right,
Go ahead.
so I have some burning questions.
Go for it.
Okay, so again, pass if you don't want to answer. But I want to know, when did you lose your virginity, and tell me the story behind it. Like, was it with your babysitter at 14?
No,
You need to go or you?
I'll take this.
You,
Right,
Geoffrey,
right.
go ahead.
So my family owns a pool company. I lost it the typical pool boy way. No, I'm fucking kidding. I wish. That was always my dream. That was always my dream. I walked into everyone's backyard in a bathing suit, flip flops, and no shirt on,
Oh my gosh.
just waiting for that moment.
Did it ever happen,
no,
by the way?
fuck no. That's why I'm not ever gonna live that. That's why I'm never gonna quit on the dream of being a pool boy. I will have a pool company again just to make sure I procure that dream.
That
Hold on.
fantasy.
But I
Nonetheless.
thought he was just this gentleman.
Yeah, I'm a-
There's layers.
I'm just
layers.
gonna
Come
I'm gonna
on.
play it out with my wife.
There you go. Exactly. I was going to
There
say,
you
what
go.
a brilliant fantasy to bring to a woman down the road that you're in a
Exactly.
relationship with.
Exactly. Who's ready to role play?
All right, so
I like it.
how old were
No,
you?
so 15. What's ninth grade?
14.
Okay. I was dating a girl for like 3 years, and obviously at that age, that's a lot. But like,
You got some
I'll
long
go-
relationships under your belt.
really.
Like, what are you doing?
I got 4 long-term relationships and a lot of gray area in between.
I'm 25.
A lot of gray area in between. But so we were dating for like 2.5 years, I guess, at this point, and like I was itching. I had opportunities all over the fucking world, and I was just like, I'm gonna be a good guy and save it for my girlfriend at the time. She needed this whole big like fucking scene played out, candle lit. Parents aren't home. She comes home early from cheerleading practice. I come home from football practice. No one's home, so it had to be like the perfect timing.
Right.
I always had the perfect timing. I could tell my mom, hey, yo, you gotta leave. I gotta take care of shit. But anyway, so that was the experience. It was like candlelit. I really don't remember the experience too much. I don't fucking know why, but there was no missed beats. I like, as every person losing their virginity, you get nervous. You're like, am I gonna fuck up? Am I gonna do it wrong? What's the right hole? Like, nah, none of that. It was all fucking, it was perfect. It was seamless. It was like I was built for the shit. But that was like the whole extent of it. And then literally my mom came and picked us up, dropped her off at cheerleading practice, dropped me off at football practice. And I was like, hey, Mom,
Wow.
we want to trust one person with this so that if anything happens, someone knows. And literally that day I looked at her, I was like, we had sex.
Did she freak out?
And she was like, okay, good.
Oh
I'm so
my
happy.
gosh.
I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy it happened in a safe environment in our home. You guys didn't have to sneak around. I was like, yes, ma'am.
Wow.
It's pretty That's pretty
Mine's
Yeah,
different.
I would
calm
know.
of your
I'm
mom.
sure yours
Yeah.
is different.
Mine's different.
Okay, tell me.
I had dated the girl. See, the crazy thing is, ours was in. I can tell you, it's in August. It was right before school, and so
Wait, you were how old?
14. But I was turning 15 in October, so I was 14. She had just turned 14, and so I don't know. Do you remember AOL Instant Messenger?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that was yeah, right. So
Jeffrey's like, what?
You just dated yourself big time.
I know I did. And yeah, so me and her was on AOL. It was in the morning. Parents were gone, and we had talked, and then her cousin had just gotten her license. She was 16, so she came over and picked me up. She lived like 15, 20 minutes away.
So she was really country.
Oh yeah, we're real country. Yeah, she lived in a town called Arlington. Yeah,
Oh.
town. I shouldn't have said the town.
We can beep it out. We'll beep it out.
Did not have places. But I dated her off and on through high school. But anyways, yes, I went over to her house and I had a condom. I don't know. I'd had it for a while.
Just waiting for that right moment.
Trying to
Really.
just be, Rico Suave. It does, you're right, it does get so weird. Like when you get you can watch all the porn you want. You can see whatever you want. Think you got it, but it was such a weird thing. And we did it, and then the condom broke because it was
Oh
so
my
old.
gosh.
So then we went through that whole she said,
That shit wasn't a Magnum. What the fuck?
It was one of those, like, we were just young.
But was she pregnant?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. And
Jeez, why are you
and
playing
then it
into
was,
the...
that was it was on and popping after that, though.
Wow.
Did your
So-
parents know?
No, my grandma didn't even know that I cussed. She didn't know.
You
When
were literally an angel.
I was angel.
And you
To
were like
her.
revered.
That's why my name is Michael.
Oh.
The angel.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. Okay, Andrea, I want to
My
hear
name is Michael.
yours.
Oh no, pass.
Seriously?
100%. Yeah, no, we're not going there.
Can you at least tell us how old you were?
Pass. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly, I was 14 and it was in the parking lot of a church.
I can tell you where I was. I'll tell you
Amen.
where I was.
Amen.
I was in a car.
That's funny.
I was in a car in.
Oh, that's surprising.
Fuck you. I love you. The Joshua Tree National Park.
That's where you were?
Yep.
In a
That's a
car.
nice ducked off area.
It actually was awesome. Like the camping was awesome. The whole situation was not awesome.
Do you still like having sex in cars?
On occasion, I mean, why not? If the situation calls for it,
another, you can turn it down
why
and say
not?
no.
You know, it's so funny because I would do all that kind of shit back then, like crazy places. It didn't matter. I didn't care about getting in trouble. And now, once you have kids, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail. Like,
no,
I can't
hold
do that
on,
because I'm going to
hold
go to jail.
on. Would you have sex in a car right now with kids? Like not in the car with you, but
I
you
think
have
a guy
kids
is
present.
different. A guy is different than asking a
Yes.
woman with a
Exactly.
mother.
Yes.
A mother with 2 children is different than asking a guy.
No, it's not.
100%.
Why? Well, what?
She's afraid
You
of
don't
getting
want to go
caught
to jail.
and going to jail.
Having that be like on
Cops
the
ain't gonna send
news.
nobody
That's
to
what I asked my
jail.
friend who's a
No
former
one
LAPD
cares.
officer, and she's
Have
like,
you dealt
down
with
here,
Florida
think through-
cops?
No, they're not taking you to jail. They would take people to jail every day.
There is sex trafficking, heroin,
I know.
crack,
Domestic
flocka,
violence.
Yeah, people dying daily. Like, hey, you guys, tighten up.
But they'll arrest people for
They don't want to do the
a little
paperwork.
bit of weed.
Exactly. Not
what I'm
anymore.
saying.
Not
That's
anymore.
Not
That's gone
anymore.
too.
Yeah, that's slowed down.
And my
Listen,
friend
can
who's
I tell you, I've had worse stuff found on me, and cop looked at me like, "Yo, get out of here."
Yeah, get
Right.
the fuck
What
out of
is
here.
this shit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, "Drive safer, Jack." Like basically, you stupid fuck.
drive safe.
That's what he said. You know why? Because they have to
Walk
take
safer.
that. Then they have to
Yeah.
We
go
don't
do
condone that.
paperwork.
Right.
And then they have all this shit to do. Then they have to show up to court.
Right.
And they have to be at the... No.
It's not worth it a
I'm
lot of
telling
times.
you, man. Like, that's what they want people to think. Like, oh.
My friend-
You're going to get in trouble. I walked down... I was just in New York City. There's weed dispensaries on every single corner. You buy weed. I was literally walking down the street, blazing joints, waving at cops.
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't care.
And I told you, my friend who's the LAPD officer, she's like, just keep your foot off the brake.
It's like, yeah, drive normal. Drive
Drive
under the speed limit. Under the speed limit. Yeah.
Pull it together, motherfucker. Come on.
Hey, I've been following you for like the last 2 miles. You've been doing 20 miles under the speed limit. Really? I thought I was doing 80. I didn't realize.
Oh
You know
my
what I mean?
gosh. Okay, Mike, what is your biggest turn off and what's your biggest turn on? And it doesn't need to be sexually.
Biggest turn on is confidence.
100%. I knew he was gonna say that.
I like confidence.
That they actually
Not
say
o-
that's the number one thing.
For men.
It is.
For men,
because, listen,
You agree?
I could come like a ball of fire. You know what I mean? Like I could come in hot and heavy. You know, and so like to be, it's always confidence, but then it's not fake confidence either.
There's
You know
also
what
a
I mean?
difference between being cocky
Yes.
and being
Can
confident.
I interject
And I mean,
for a second?
no, because I'm
Please.
not finished.
I'm gonna forget this.
That's if it's that good, you'll remember. I said, I said, so like when you're talking to someone's just confident who they are, not necessarily what they're wearing, not this, that, look what like, no, not that. Just you can carry on a conversation, like intelligence. You can carry on a conversation and it not die out in two sentences. Once you get past, oh, where you from? Cool. And then it dies out. You've got to be able to continue a conversation and just talk. You know what I mean? That's my biggest turn on, like turn on and turn off, I guess, the opposites of that.
Right.
Not having confidence, complaining, I can't stand that at all.
Jeffrey,
I think there's two different levels of...
And high maintenance is a big turnoff.
Yeah.
turn on or off?
Off.
Okay.
There's two levels of turn-ons. There's engagement and then initiation. So when you are engaging in someone, confidence is 100% the first thing that I'm looking for. Someone that can be confident, that isn't going to be cowering away, something like that. Because I am not an aggressive person when I talk to women. I actually don't really approach women. It's like always natural. I can't stand the whole like bouncing around the bar.
And
just
the
approach,
one-liners.
just
Touch and
approaching.
grab and
Yeah, with the
never
cheesy
did that.
pickup lines, none of that shit.
Right.
Like I'm waiting for like eye contact, signs, and then just natural engagement. And confidence is always going to shine above that, because when someone isn't interested in you and intrigued by you, they're going to show confidence because they know that there's going to be a connection. What then initiation into intimacy is then depth and stimulation.
Which parlays off confidence.
Which exactly, but
listen, I'm gonna say something funny. Now, if a girl, if you like your first time hooking up with them and they're just overly confident, overly experienced, you're like, okay,
yeah.
how'd you get here? You know what I
Right.
mean? You know what I'm saying? So that's like one of those things. You're like, you know what I mean? Definitely ran into situations like that. You're like, all right.
But I could tell you right now, from like a woman's standpoint, it's probably like a little bit of the opposite, because fairly recently, beautiful woman, we wound up naturally I actually don't even know how it happened. I was at a bar and she wasn't drinking. She just showed up. She was just accompanying a friend. And we wound up having great conversations. And she's like, you didn't have to share that much with me. Like, I was going to talk to you no matter what. I'm not going anywhere. You didn't have to like try to like convince me to stay and talk to you. I was like, I'm just talking. Like, this is just what I share. This is how I am.
Right.
Like, who I am. Like, if you got a problem with any of that, then that's fine. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and be fake and just sit here and try to like smooch you or like.
Because a lot of people can't do that.
I was just going to say that. Like, that's actually more common. That's why she's commenting on it, because more often people aren't real.
Yeah.
And they're trying to conceal who they are, because then you might like me. If you don't know who I really am, you might stick around longer, which is ludicrous. Because if you don't like me, you don't stick around.
If you get to know who I am, you're going to fucking try to
Someone
stay.
said
You're gonna do everything
someone
you can
told
to
me
try
one
to
That's
stay.
some confidence
you're
right
too
there.
honest. And I looked at Tim and I said,
There's no such thing.
listen to what you just told me. How am I too honest? So should I just lie sometimes? Would you rather me lie? Or...
Well, that's something that in another episode, her and I had which we won't really get into, but that has been a disadvantage for me sometimes because I'm like you in that sense, way too upfront, brutally honest, and that has been taken negatively by a lot of people.
Then
Those are
tell
weak.
them,
Those are
you know
those are
what?
weak men. Listen to me
Yeah.
right now.
No,
Those are
but
fucking
it's not
weak
just
men.
it's just
Women,
not
hey,
just men.
you know
It's
what?
women too.
You're weed, then weed them out.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't need
Weed
that.
them out.
100%.
You know what happens in a pack of lions? You get sick, they eat you.
100%.
You become food. So at the end of the day, if you can't ride with lions, that's literally how I am. Like, that's where my mindset is. If you can't even, if I make you feel some type of way in a conversation, like just naturally talking with a group of people,
Yeah.
then you definitely can't be around me one-on-one. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm just, if you can't take realness, I don't want to be around you.
Right.
I don't care what you can do, how much money you can throw, this, that,
100%.
I don't give a
Yeah.
shit.
I want to piggyback off that real quick. So I made this beautiful dinner one night for someone that was worth making a nice dinner for. And had a good evening, sat there bullshit at the table for like 4 or 5 hours. And when I say a good dinner, like I could fucking cook, baby. And then a couple days later, like we're talking, she's like, I'm not too sure about this. There were some things that you said that like, I don't think we really align. I was like, okay, like that's fine. Like we could keep this platonic. I still see you as I want to be good friends. I want to be good friends, and like we are connected to a sense, and you hold all of the values that like I typically would look for. And there are some big differences that we have and point of views that we have that are different, but I can put those to the side because we kind of live our lives the same way. We're very motivated, we're very outgoing, we're very adventurous and very physical with this world. And I was like, I know I didn't say anything to offend you because I'm not here to try to offend anybody.
Right.
And sometimes it just happens. But like this person has been beating around the bush for like weeks trying to not avoid explaining what those issues were. And I was like, just talk to me about it.
Say it.
Like we can just
Right.
call me. We'll have a conversation about it. It's not a big deal.
See,
and she's like,
I wouldn't go that long.
I know.
no, and
right?
no, but that's the thing is we don't really entertain each other at all. Like it's like a couple text messages every couple days, like 10 text messages a week. But it's just like she's like, I'm gonna call you. I want to talk about this, and then all of a sudden, like she sees a value in me, and then all of a sudden pursues again. And I'm just like, no, listen, back up right now, until you figure out what this is and what you want and what you did see that you didn't like. Until you
Right.
can justify that, like, halt the brakes right now, because like we can pursue this or we cannot. And I am not in the mindset to be pursuing anything at that capacity, but it doesn't mean that you have to just completely write this off until you, and if you can just justify it, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. And she's like, well, you're not mad that like I said that? Like that.
I wish you'd tell them. I think it's funny.
Right.
I think it's stupid.
Which one?
The reason why.
I still don't know the reason why.
I
She
thought
still
this was the other one. Because of politically.
Oh, well, there is some political
That's a-
disalignment there, but
that's
we're not those type of people that are going to hold that against each other. I don't think, at least. I'm not the type of person. I don't give a fuck. I'll date a snowflake. I can make you fucking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dating
I-
somebody that has completely different
Yeah,
political
I can make you a
views.
Trumpie. Just listen to what I say.
Oh,
I'll make it.
gosh.
I
I was about to say. I knew what she said.
I'll make it make sense, baby. Trust me.
All right, so listen.
Anyway,
We can have that talk anytime.
Well, we're going to come back for that talk for sure. And I know that we
I don't
need to
know.
wrap up, but I
I'll
have
do another one with you guys.
one last question. We have to make it quick. What do you really, and I know that this is going to be different with age groups and different for guys, for each guy, but what do you really think about a woman that you go on a date with that sleeps with you on the first date?
I don't give a shit.
So you don't give a shit?
You know, I mean, that was never a big thing to me. Because if you have a connection tonight, why are you fighting it just to say, wait till tomorrow, or wait till I see you again? Why? What? Here's my thing.
To have something to look forward to? Do you not think she's doing that with 20 other people?
No, if the first time's not going to be the best. It's not supposed to be. You just figure each other out that first time. So at the end of the day, doesn't it always get better with time? You know what I
But
mean?
do
As
you give
grow?
it that shot?
Well,
If they sleep with you on the first date, or
if
you're like, I'm calling her
if
tomorrow.
that's on you. It's not on me. You know what I'm saying? That was on the female. Like, honestly, that's true. Like, yes, that's what it is.
Wait, what do you mean it's on the female?
No. There's two ways to look at it.
Hold on. I'll say this.
Yeah.
She asked if I'm calling you tomorrow, and I
Right.
said yes. It's on the female. Like, if you perform, yeah. I know where I'm at.
I see what you're saying.
If
I
you
know where
are
I'm
good
at.
in bed,
But you
then
just
you
said
call.
the
But if
first time
she's
isn't the
not,
best.
If we
you
have,
won't.
Okay,
Here's my point.
Let me finish
If you
this
don't
now.
sleep with the girl on the first
There you
date
go.
and you give her a
Okay.
month or two and you fall in love with her personality and who she is,
Okay.
then that
You
sex
want me
is
to
not
answer
going to
this?
matter.
There we go.
I have so many
No,
rabbit holes.
no,
I got
stop.
so many
I
rabbit
should've
holes.
asked this
I got
at the
good
beginning.
ones. I got good ones.
Let me have a direct. You have elaborate stories. Let me answer questions. Watch this. Here we go. So listen, if you have sex with me on the first date, why am I not allowed to judge your performance on that? That's not on me. That's on you if you did that. So if you made that decision, do not get mad at me for judging your performance. And that's a fact.
Okay.
So now.
You answered my question.
I know, really.
I get it. No, but hold on. So, because it's happened in both ways. Now, and you can ask any guy this. You want to make us chase, fine. We're primal males. Like we're alpha.
I'm a hunter, not a fucking gatherer.
Thank you.
Agreed.
So now, if I get to know your personality, cool. Now, what if it's just your personality and the sex is bad? Then hold on. Let me finish.
Why did I wait 3 months for this bullshit?
Exactly. A and B.
It's always great. I
Now
love a
your
woman.
feelings are
You
hurt
can improve on
because
that.
listen, both of you know that physical attraction and that physical needs to be there. I don't care how nice the guy is. I don't care, especially nowadays, because sex is all across the TVs and you see it 24/7. So you're like, damn, I'm getting this, and someone out there is going to do that to me. That's a fact, and that's 1,000%.
See, I think girls think differently with that.
100%.
So you guys think you guys can be with someone that's
100%, because that happened to me.
Not physically.
It happened to me, and I
But
was
I'm
with him for 4 years.
All right. Can I?
So what happens at 10 years?
You can learn the sex. The
So-
sex is not going to be good like
So
you
after
said the
4
first
years,
time.
what are you doing?
I could learn a person, but
I mean,
we're not having
after
good
4
sex. That's the
years,
problem.
then maybe you
Learn.
have a conversation or you end it. But you
Fair.
don't base your future on that one time.
I didn't
No.
say that. I didn't. No. The future is never based on one interaction. That's a fact. I didn't say that. I'm saying you're setting it up. So, okay, cool. What if you are a person with a great personality and then the sex is bad? I'm just curious.
And then you're out.
So then we're just going to talk.
So
and,
for
hold
you,
on.
you're out.
No, so I'm just saying we're just going to talk for the rest of our lives.
No,
and
but
have
you
great
improve. Hey,
conversation.
listen, let me
What we're
teach
saying
you.
is that can be
let
better.
me teach you.
Oh no, it's
you
okay.
can get it can get
It's
better.
not- okay, yes, it's not going to be
You're
dead.
gonna
Okay, I'm
teach
sorry.
you.
Let me finish that. You're right. I didn't.
I'm the
I
teacher
didn't-
in the class.
I didn't
first
say
of
that
all.
right. I'm saying, yes, I'm not. It's not dead after one time. No, we'll work. But if
Of course,
that-
if it
you
doesn't
see
change,
if you're not gelling physically,
right,
you can have great conversation and be friends,
right.
and that's a fact.
I agree with that.
I think for a relationship to be right, you have to have sex, and you do have to experience things. You do have to work on things and do that. Yes, of course, but that raw physicality and that has to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't work, but a relationship is always building, and trust me, I'm in the midst of it.
100%.
It's constantly a build, and things are evolving and changing. People are changing. Women are changing with kids, and
Yeah.
your body's change, your hormones change. Like, I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, in that single life, when you don't have kids, that physical attraction is a big thing. Like you said it earlier.
Even
So-
if you have kids, I think the physical
it
attraction
is. It's huge. No, I know. To me, it's more so when you have kids. But I'm saying pre-kids, you're selfish. You're selfish. It's about your needs, and that's why younger relationships, younger marriages, and engagements, to me, they never work out. The divorce rate, they don't stay together forever. The divorce rate, but it's when they get older, and then you have all these women, not a lot, but or the people hate their wives, or they hate their husbands, or they rushed into this and they're miserable, and because religion says, hey, you got to stay together. You can't, there's all these different psychological things that people go through, and it plays this whole part. So that's why people cheat all the time, and then women or men will put up with the cheating because
they don't have the physical.
And so then, not exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to make
So
sure I'm
you
understanding
mentally
what
put
you're
up with it
saying.
because you love their personality.
right.
But
So-
then what? Then if you're still not getting it after a while, you're like, or some women or men, they'll go lose weight. They'll start getting in shape. They'll be at the gym. They'll get acknowledged. They'll get compliments, shit that they're not getting at home because we have great conversation, though. We've been together for 10 years. I don't need to compliment you.
And she's getting her back blown out in the locker
I don't
room.
need to tell you you're pretty.
Right.
Well, but the 30-year-old kid at the gym saying it to me,
Yeah.
and he looks better than you. I've seen him flexing this. You know what I mean? There's all these, especially now.
I think you should never stop telling your partner
listen,
she's
I agree.
pretty.
No, I agree.
Ever.
I agree.
Yeah.
But what if
They stop.
What if the physical attraction's not there and you don't think about it? If it doesn't cross your mind, how do you say it?
Well, that's what commitment is at that point.
But I also think once you're in a relationship for like 10 years, if Paige were to let herself go,
See, that's what I'm saying. We've
you
talked, me and her have talked
would
about
leave?
this. I'm not saying no. See, but why do you get to let yourself go? Why do you?
That's not the question.
No,
though.
that is the question. That would be my question. Hold on. Where are we? She asked me specific. Where are we at? Where you just let yourself go?
Right.
We were both athletes. When I first met you, we were at Division I athletes. That was one
Mike.
of the things that was attractive. Yes, ma'am.
What would happen if, like, she got, a terminal, like, what if she had,
that's
like a
never.
thyroid disease or
Never.
something
No,
and she had to gain
that's
weight?
So now you're bringing in
it's a different.
others. See, now you guys
Different
you guys are being women right now.
We're being women all the time, Mike. Come on.
I'm doing like a general.
We get it.
This is what I'm just telling
get
you.
it.
I know what guys.
Yeah.
What we think, and I'm not saying all guys.
All right, Geoffrey, you have 30 seconds
Literally.
to respond.
All right, I'm going to go back to the original question. If she sleeps with you on the first date, listen to me right now. If she does that with everyone that she goes on a first date with, that doesn't matter because if you got 50 first dates and I have to be the person out of 50 of those, I'm going to be in top 1% every fucking time. So I'm not mad. If you had a big 6'5" ex-Marine and ex-football player, and that was the only lover you ever had, I'm gonna feel a little different. Not really. I'm still putting it down. But that is something that you should never shy away from as a man. I think that shows weakness in confidence and in your own abilities if you judge a woman off of your physical attraction with that person and then you wind up having sex on the first date. And I've been on the other side of the table where, like, there was no intimacy and no physical. There was physical attraction, strong physical attraction, but there was integrity from the other side that I respected. And we didn't do anything for like 2.5 months, and it was still mind blowing. It was still great. It was amazing. So there's great sides on for both situations.
I agree. I agree with that.
So last question, because we could really have to wrap it up. Have you ever had a long-term relationship with somebody you've had sex with on the first date?
Yes.
Mike?
There's your answer.
No.
There's your answer.
I mean, you just don't know.
No.
I have friends from law
Actually,
school. They had a one-night stand. They got pregnant.
Hey.
They're still together. They just had a 20-something year anniversary.
My 4-year relationship
That week.
literally was substantiated off of
The next day.
Hey, listen to this. My 4-year relationship was substantiated off of someone that I was talking to on Snapchat through my ex-girlfriend. We became friends, started talking. She came over one night after I had a long day at work. We didn't even have a date. We had sex. And we then did that for like 10 nights in a row. And then finally she's like, "Are you going to ask for my number?" I was like, "No, we're doing fine like this. We're just talking through Snapchat. I'm working all day. I'm working out. I'm doing my own thing." And then we wound up having a 4-year beautiful relationship. Now the only downfall to that
Where
is
you guys
there was,
at now?
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%.
But that's not a 4-year relationship.
Yeah, but I'm saying it was a
If
beautiful
we're all bringing
relationship
up
off of
points,
that.
I'm just bringing up my points too.
100%.
All right, so
You're not wrong.
on that note, I think we definitely need to have a follow-up with these
agree.
two, 100%, because we could be here for another 4 hours.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah. This is good content.
But see, now maybe they'll come back more easily because it was
Exactly.
fucking
100%.
like herding cats getting them
Yeah.
here. So
You have
maybe
no idea
next
what's
time it'll
going
be
on right now.
easier.
So can we
I don't
can
even,
we
I don't even sleep.
can we get this recorded and say you guys are going to come back, please?
Yeah, 100%. Oh,
Okay.
yes. I like this.
We got good
Jeffrey?
tequila.
This is good.
Pass.
Yeah, really. He's
No, I'm
kidding.
kidding. This is
I
great
was like, that was
conversation.
funny, but he's kidding.
Awesome. We appreciate you guys being here.
This is
All right.
awesome. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
guys
having
very
us.
much for
Appreciate
being
it.
here.
Thank
It
you
was
guys so
very
much.
good. All right. Well, this is Andrea, and
Carolina,
we want you to
stay tuned.